Want to do that? There we go, and we should be coming up here any second on record the meeting. Yes, we do. All right, there we go. We have to. We
Good morning,
can't
Vinnie.
do the thing anymore where we let people in, like we let them in on what we're talking about, because the YouTube thing, not YouTube, Facebook software has once again changed. It seems that they change the software, Michael, every week on me.
They have engineers with nothing else to do except to change it. Have you ever walked into Trader Joe's and realized that they moved everything? They put the potato chips where the bread used to be, and they put the
Yep.
frozen food where the vegetables used to be. And then you wander around the store, you know that it's there. You haven't the faintest idea how to find it or to get to it. And when you do get to it, it seems like the size has changed. There's something different about it.
It's like as if they figured out, well, if we make you walk around the store longer, you'll spend more money.
You're going to buy those pickles that you don't want. Kosher,
Right.
by the way.
You know, the ones that are sitting in my refrigerator now for a year.
But you need them if you're making tuna fish sandwiches. You need them. You need good
You have
pickles.
to have them. You can't make a decent tuna fish sandwich without um, pickles, jalapenos, and wavy, salty, and vinegar potato chips.
I also put in celery, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. You're cooking, so knock yourself out.
You want cheese and you want it melted?
Do I want cheese and do I want it melted? I'm not a big tuna melt guy. I like this. I like the flat out straight tuna with mayonnaise and jalapenos
Oh
and
yeah,
but just a little bit of mayonnaise.
I'll make it.
But
I'll
I'm
make
not
it
a
just. I'll make it just the way you want it. We'll hold the cheese and we'll hold the melt.
yeah. Now, I mean, if you got a nice cheddar that you want to put on there,
Sharp, sharp white cheddar.
sharp
You're gonna love
cheddar
it.
that I mean, we can figure that out. We can work that out. What kind of soup are you serving with that?
Soup. Let's see. Today it was a tomato. Tomorrow it's going to be minestrone.
Either one of those do the trick for me, pal. I'll be over in about an hour.
Thank you. Always good to have you here, Vinny. I'll be ready for you.
Awesome. By the way, he is Michael Knight, and he is in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California, Pasadena, to be more specific.
And that's New York Vinny. He's in Seattle, Washington, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:10. You can count on us. We're right here to entertain and inform. Not you, the audience. No, you probably get nothing out of it. But for ourselves, we are entertained and informed. And I have breaking news just over the wire from the LA Times. Kanye West has been dropped by CAA, the large talent agency in town. They said they have cut ties with him and made it known that it was as a direct result of his anti-Semitic remarks recently. So he's out of a gig. That leaves only Adidas, who's remained silent through this entire situation, a European manufacturer of sporting goods that might want to get on the right side of the anti-Semitism question if they know what's good for them,
Uh,
having so much of their product sold, manufactured, and enjoyed in the great country of Germany and the environs, who would like to put all that behind them and should and will, I'm sure, if Adidas does the right thing and cuts ties with Kanye West for his incredibly ugly remarks and the ignorance that brought them to be. I'm sorry, Kanye, but you've made a terrible mistake. I think there's something seriously wrong with him. He needs care of the mental variety, and he's not getting it.
well, this is the prototypical case of somebody who's probably been allowed to say whatever he wants to say for so long that he now thinks he can say anything.
Well, if it rhymes, he can sell it. That's the
Yeah,
idea.
whether he believes it or not, it's almost immaterial to him.
Yeah.
Um, because they'll always bring up, well, did Buddy Holly always think that it was raining in his heart? That there's a artistic metaphorical license here or some kind of crap like that. But when you say stuff that hurts people, when you say stuff in an environment that is so volatile these days,
And you do it in the same week you make lunch plans with Donald Trump.
yeah, I mean, it's really, it gets to a point where you just go. You're right. Go get some help, man. Go, stop saying the stuff you're saying. And it kind of shocks me that nobody in his community of artists and musicians or whatever his community, I'm sure he's a multi-community guy, has stepped up to him and said, "Listen, you need to calm down." I'm surprised that there hasn't been somebody, maybe there has been and we just don't know about it yet.
I
Maybe
think
there has been like a Shaquille O'Neal or a Jim Brown or somebody of substance that has stood up, called him and says, "Listen, pal, we got to talk." And again, maybe they have, but if he's using Donald Trump as his guiding light,
and his
uh,
lunch partner. Can you imagine eating pizza with the knife and fork with Donald Trump and
I
Kanye
can't imagine
West?
eating with Donald Trump. I mean, I just couldn't imagine doing anything with him.
That's a fine point to make, and I think probably I overspoke when I said you would have lunch with him. I don't
Yeah,
think you
no,
would.
I
No.
would. That's a hard pass, as they say in the dating
Yeah.
world. That's a hard pass. That's a, yeah. I don't. The only way that I would want to sit down with Donald Trump would be to, to just ask him why you like this. What happened to you?
When Donald Trump says anti-Semitic things, he gets stronger in the polls. He satisfies his base. He does what he wants to do. He stirs the mud and he floods the zone with shit. When Kanye West does it, that finally catches up with him because he realized that he's an entertainer. He's not supposed to be in that the vein of idiots and dark, odious men like Donald Trump. He's supposed to be an entertainer, put out a record, do a show, make a little dance, as they say, do something
Yeah,
worthwhile.
but
And
you
he
know
can't do it. He can't
that's
do
what
it.
happens when
He's
these
lost on the
people
fence.
blur the political lines. They
Yes.
used to. I mean, once you crossed over to, and I guess this really started, you had a pilot named Lindbergh, and Lindbergh started saying that, a guy like Hitler might have been right,
He got things.
had some stuff, and probably not even knowing the full extent of what he was doing.
I think Lindbergh knew because he visited. He stood right next to
Well,
Hitler.
I'm saying, I'm just for but maybe I'll give him the benefit of that. Maybe in the beginning he didn't know, but now you have a guy that flies planes and he's weighing in on a political situation, which there's nothing wrong with. We do that. I mean, how many times have you been told stick to sports? You know,
Donald Trump said that I should stick to sports or making tuna fish sandwiches.
I think he should. But in Kanye West's case, and I think in certain artists who have a large following of people who, I don't know, I don't want to say do exactly what they say, but they can create an environment of hostility toward a group of people pretty easily.
They're influenced deeply by what they
Yeah,
say and their work and their releases.
they
And
truly are influencers in the truest sense of the word. And when you make remarks like that, you now have people who take that to heart not only as music fans, but as citizens, as people who all of a sudden think that that's a smart or a right thing to do, or to feel, or to say. And if Kanye feels it, he's expressing what a large group of people feel, and I'll go along. We got a lot of lemmings out there these days. A lot of people go along with. They want to belong to something.
well, CAA knew where to cut the ties. They said, no, we've heard of it. We've heard it. We've reflected on it. We don't represent you anymore. Good luck with your career.
Well,
No more CAA in your life.
let me ask you a question here. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. Would it have been better for CAA to call him in and say, "Hey, we're going to cut your ties. You got to go out. You got to, number one, make an apology." And I don't know if they did this or not, but to try to maybe I don't know Kanye West. I never met the guy. I've listened to him a couple of times. He doesn't sound like the brightest light bulb on the block. But our ex-president, doesn't sound like the brightest. That's not a qualification for being in a public space anymore.
Don't you remember they had a meeting in the White House in the Oval Office and traded non sequiturs? Neither
Right.
one of them was
Yeah.
listening to what the other guy was saying.
Yeah. And so, could there have been a situation where CAA, instead of just cutting this guy, which I agree with, I don't disagree with it, but would there have been an ability for them to sit him down and see, or say to him, "We're going to cut you if you don't submit to a test or a mental, something that would at least alert him, Kanye, to what he's doing and which way he's going."
Well, that just puts
I
him.
hope they offered that to him. I hope that there was some kind of transaction or interaction that said, "You're really in a weird space here. We want to help you, not just cut you. We want to see if we can help you.
Yeah, I don't think that's their
We don't
job.
want."
That's not their job. He should have a personal manager to take care of that, not
Yeah,
an
but Michael, you know how that personal manager stuff goes in that situation. You got 25 personal managers, and they're all looking for what they can get for themselves until you're nothing but a carcass.
Well, CAA is not going to do it because to travel that road it says we see you're an anti-Semitic, you seem to be mentally disturbed, and we'll still do business with you if
I'm
you
not
jump through
saying
the
do
hoop.
business with him. I'm saying, um, uh, try to. You've made a ton of money off of this guy. Try to get him straightened out instead of canceling people. And it's not just Kanye. I'm talking about this cancel kind of culture in general.
Yeah, but wait, let's not confuse the reason behind it. Most of the cancel culture is an invention of the right-wing media to stir up the ignorant masses. What Kanye West is doing is voluntarily destroying his career with anti-Semitic commentary.
Right. And which I would think, if somebody said that, they either really got that they have a mental problem. They don't see things in a clear light. They're looking at things. Now, listen, I'm sure there's some people that would say, "Oh no, oh, he's got it exactly right." "Oh, I got fired by some Jewish guy back in 1957." And I just it's great that they disassociate themselves from him, but how do you get him and the people that follow him, or the people that look at him and say he is? Because when you let somebody go, the only thing you do is you make him a hero, don't you? I mean, you make him a martyr.
Well, so what's Adidas supposed to do? The ball's in their corner, as they say in the sporting word of
Right.
Adidas.
I think they.
Right now, they're saying we run with Kanye West. What he
No, no,
says,
no.
we
I'm not
say.
saying that they run with him, but I'm saying it's a moment where you come out with this guy and you say, "We heard what he said. We're trying to get him help. We're trying to do what we can as a company to make him see how wrong this is."
What Kanye West's promise to them is, I'm going to make people buy Adidas. Hey, Jews, buy Adidas shirts, buy Adidas pants, buy Adidas
Nobody's going to
shoes.
buy their stuff.
Make a fool of yourself. Hey, all you Jews listening to Kanye, hey, I just want to say it's time for Adidas for everybody. You look at your shoes, you know you need a pair. Make sure they're Adidas. Thank you so much.
Well, but Michael, I think that's. I don't think that's the point here. The point here is you have somebody that's saying things that are hurtful, anti-Semitic, and that person carries some weight to them. Do you just put him over in a corner and say, "This guy is what he's saying is so ridiculous, and we just don't want anything to do with him"? Or is there a way that you can take what he said and say, "Wait a minute, we're going to show you how wrong you are. We're going to show you. We're going to publicly show, if you want to keep this contract, we're going to publicly show you. We're going to educate you somehow." It's like it's almost like when a drunk driver gets caught, and the company says, "Well, we're going to send him to class. He's going to do PSAs about drunk driving and everything. He's going to make people more aware of it." Well, Adidas has this huge hammer they can hold over his head, saying, "Listen, we can take this contract away from you, or we can sit you down with whomever, and they can explain that this is wrong, that this is not. We can get you help because you're obviously in freaking sane."
Well, I think the way he broke up with his wife, even though she was a Kardashian and is prone to her own form of insanity, showed that he was not a stable guy.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't think
And
he is stable.
long before that, he would burst into and out of focus in the media world, never with anything particularly of interest to say, but always with something that called attention to the fact that he doesn't seem quite right. He's not quite there.
I don't think he is quite right. To be, I mean, I don't. I think there's something serious. I mean, he's the Dennis Rodman of our time. He's that guy that you expect one day.
Except
Uh,
no rebounds.
yeah,
Kanye cannot rebound.
yeah, you'll expect one day he'll be in a parking lot. And a SWAT team will have to respond because he's got a gun to his head.
At a 7-Eleven, trying to free
Yeah,
a Slurpee.
I pray that doesn't happen to him.
They're going to free all the Slurpees.
But listen. To be fair, Rodman, you know, um, redeemed himself in many ways.
I think he tried. Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
should.
at least there was an attempt there. At least he was a guy that lived his own life.
Booze was not his friend.
Yeah, and I just think this guy Kanye, it's like a traffic accident waiting to happen. And the more I look at him, the more I see. And I'm not I don't know much about him except that he's a rapper and he's had some songs and you know, and he has a lot of people and he influences. He has, I don't know, is it 2 million or 10 million? I forget how many people follow him on social media. Now I got to ask you a question because an interesting thing came up over the weekend about around this. Lorraine Newman, who we know from Saturday Night Live and other acting ventures, retweeted a picture of some people on an overpass in Los Angeles.
I was on the 405 freeway.
Okay, so the question is, did it actually happen? Or is the picture and the report of it doctored?
No, the report actually happened, and it was printed in the LA Times, and it was a group of anti-Semitic organizers that were using the Kanye West comments to amplify their own hate and to publicize their own website. In some media uses of that picture, I saw this morning, some of the content was blurted out, was blurred, so you couldn't see the address. Yeah. But in the original, the one that I saw on Facebook and then in LA media was not blurred, and so they may have gotten some traction from like-minded anti-Semites. And it goes to show that in a city as diverse as Los Angeles is in terms of its racial content, as I always say, if you live in a country and no one from your country has come to LA, please come immediately. We need you here. At least one of you, one person from every country on the planet's got to be here right now. And the end result of that diversity is that we're taking two black eyes, one for that banner put on the busy 405 freeway, and then the nonsense going on in the city council with all the anti-black remarks made by Latinos and anti-Latino remarks made by the black. We're looking pretty ugly. We're trying really hard to look bad, to look awful, to look the opposite of diverse, the opposite of California, the opposite of Los Angeles. But there it is, Vinny. Everywhere you look.
But no uglier really than most places, Michael. I mean,
everywhere you look, you got ants at the picnic, and it's beautiful. It's sunny. It's going to be 75 degrees today. Is what makes you happy putting up an anti-Semitic banner on the 405? That's what really got you going? You thought this was going to be some sort of a Kanye West breakthrough and all the anti-Semitic people were going to get together in Los Angeles and have some sort of a kumbaya moment where you get to stand around and do your little dances and your goose steps and the swastika salutes. Your act is if it weren't so ugly and if it wasn't so historically ghastly, it would be the silliest little act ever, because the people that you revered, Adolf Hitler, Heinrich Himmler, Hermann Goering. Look at those idiots. Look at that lineup.
Well,
Look at those schlemiels. The worst of the worst. They all got together and had a Nazi party.
but there's people that look at them and think that they had the right idea.
The most efficient humans of the 20th century. They really got things done.
There's people that look at them still to this day. And I mean, listen, you had a congresswoman, what was it, a year ago, or maybe a little bit more, saying that Jewish space lasers were coming down and attacking people.
I have to say that of all the space lasers, the Jewish space lasers are the best. They're accurate. They get long distance accuracy.
How do you know which ones they are, Michael? Can you feel a Jewish one? Does it have blue and white light instead of green light? Or
There's a slight there's a slight blue tinge to it, and they're circumcised.
it smells like pickles. Wait a minute. It hit me and I smell like a gherkin.
What's the name of these? We call them Wolfies. Wolfies number 23.
Exactly. The anti-Semitic stuff. Well, I mean, all of this crap. It just shows us how far we have to go. How as advanced as we all think we are, we
Oh
ain't.
yeah.
We at nothing because eyebrows still get raised when a car full of black kids go down a street in a white neighborhood. The fact that we have black and white neighborhoods. If a car full of white kids goes cruising through a black neighborhood, the cops pull them over because they think they're looking for drugs. I mean, it's we still, and I don't know that it's ever going to go away. I don't know that we're going to have now. Maybe, and I really thought this would have happened by now. That maybe we're going to see a generation or a turnaround in this where people start, and I thought it was going to happen with my kids' generation. I thought that,
I think it's going to happen with my granddaughter's generation.
well, I thought it would have happened already, Michael, and
It happens incrementally, and
it
and
seems like
sometimes
it's going the other way.
right now, I think what's happening is the people who are, as we always say on this show, people who are angry are really just afraid. And what are these people, what are these anti-Semitic people afraid of? Well, at the moment, it sounds like they're afraid of just about everything. They're afraid of their job. They're afraid of their position in the community. They're afraid of what their family is about. They're afraid of what they're going to see on television. They're afraid of what the next step's going to be. They're afraid of this election. They're afraid of people who are going to vote in the election. They're afraid of everything.
Right. And you have these people that are standing up in the Republican Party and saying you should be afraid that they are coming for your job. They are coming for your wife. They are coming for your family. They're bringing fentanyl with them over the border. They're bringing, all of these different drugs and thoughts that they're going to take back the land that the United States stole from them. I mean, all this kind of crazy crap that you
That's so that so-called Mexican fentanyl, of course, is made here. And as for marijuana, the shake that they used to sell from Mexico don't work here anymore. You can get better marijuana right here legally, or you can buy it illegally in California. We decided to keep the black market for some reason. Of all the states that legalized marijuana, California said, "Hey, we can have legal marijuana, but we can keep the illegal marijuana. This will be so cool. We'll still grow it illegally. We can charge whatever we want for it. Our prices will be different. Our standards will be different. We'll be free."
It's like that. It's like that thing in Cuba where they use one currency for the local people and another currency for the for the visitors. What?
I just want the carrots. What are you?
I
Well,
want,
here's
I want
here's some
something to drink. That's all.
here's something for America to believe in. It's football season, And if you happen to be a New York Jets fan, and I shouldn't have said that when you were drinking, a New York Jets fan has much
Easy to swallow these days.
has much to be thankful for, as do the Seahawks fans who thought that Geno Smith was a joke. Now they realize that he's the man they need in a terrible dark hour.
And for Russell Smith, who, I mean, you talk about a, change of location. I mean, a change of location has done nothing but damage this guy.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. What did I say?
Smith.
Oh, Russell.
I knew he meant.
Yeah. I mean, the change of scenery that he so desired is turning into the dictionary definition of "be careful what you wish for."
And he's already been hurt twice, and it's just a young season. A lot of quarterbacks are feeling that pain, and on Tuesday mornings.
And not only has he been hurt twice, but his reputation in Denver has just gone down the toilet.
Well, they don't know his act. Nothing bothers me. We're going to win this thing. We got it all figured out. They don't know. They haven't seen him for years like the Seattle fans have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. It's like it's the Yankee Stadium syndrome. People used to go into Yankee Stadium and be afraid to play there because this is the same field that Babe Ruth was on. And well, when you built the new one and moved across the street, now it's just another ballpark.
Sorry,
it's not that Yankee Stadium. It's not the place where Ruth and Gehrig and Berra and Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle and name them all through. It's just it's another building, man. In the South Bronx.
So what happened to Yankee Stadium? The Yankees tore it down. That's what happened to it.
Should have made it the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Just think of what you could have done there. You could have taken. You could have kept Cooperstown, but you could have built another wing of the Baseball Hall of Fame in there and had people roaming around Yankee Stadium for all eternity at $25 a pop.
Buy yourself a Bronx T-shirt and you're on your way home.
Yeah. Instead, they decided, well, we'll just knock it down because we don't value. But we're getting off the course here. It was an incredible football weekend. Starting with the Huskies and moving right on through to what we saw last night. Except if you're a 49ers fan, I guess that was. I guess. The celebration of the new gentleman who was brought to that team was kind of sullied a bit by Kansas City.
Well, he's a running back, but he's new to the team, so I thought they were going to run. Because when Jimmy's in play action pass and he gets bothered, bad things happen. Bad things happen. When you pressure Jimmy Garoppolo, he turns the ball over, and he did it yesterday. And if he doesn't turn it over, he loses his accuracy and his ability to find an open receiver. Pressure destroys his concentration. It always has. It's as bad this year as it's ever been. We're lucky to have him. And what he can do and what he has done in the past is supervise a very distinctly successful running game. So you got Deebo Samuel and you got Christian McCaffrey. Run the damn ball is my answer to your problem. And that's something that they didn't do successfully or consistently yesterday. And the passing game got him in trouble over and over again. And if you give any kind of a break to Mahomes in Kansas City, you're in a world of hurt. And they came back and said, we can beat you and we're going to beat you. And you, with your great defense, San Francisco 49ers, are not going to get to Mahomes. We're going to stay mobile, roll away, evade you in every way possible. And 49ers have a problem that can be solved with a distinctly powerful running game, period.
Yeah, it was pretty, I mean, not that I expected the 49ers to beat them, but I just, it just looked like a game that the 49ers, I don't know, threw away.
Well, they squandered opportunities over and over again.
Yeah, I guess they were like the Steelers. The Steelers had plenty of opportunities last night.
Yeah.
To come back and score a measly 7 points and a half. I mean, they got the ball to open up the half. They could have got, they could have should have gone down the field and scored. and made it
Right.
17-16 and relied on the defense to hold them. But the Steelers' defense last night seemed to take the night off in
Yeah.
many ways, not completely, because Miami got to the 16 points and they didn't get much further than that. But for a Steeler team to not be able to go into Miami and score 6 points in a half of football
And they had a number of chances to do it.
an embarrassment. Just like the Yankees getting one hit in Yankee Stadium is an embarrassment to Yankee fans. It happens, but it's not supposed to, and not
But
in a playoff game.
Vinny, you could have taken the video of all those four games, cut it up into pieces, and shown it in out of order, and you'd never notice it because the Yankees looked the same for each and every of those games. They looked like they had all taken some sort of terrible medicine and ayahuasca in the desert. Their focus was gone. They couldn't catch pop flies. They couldn't make plays at second base. They couldn't hit and run.
Yeah,
Nothing.
at least the Mariners took them to 18 innings. I mean, at least the M's. You could say that the Mariners could have won any one of those games. The Yankees. I mean, it never seemed like it was a competition. I mean, their pitching, the Houston pitching, just trotted
Yeah.
all over the Yankee big bats. And the worst part of it is the Yankees didn't get necessarily beat by the top of the order. The Yankees got beat by the 7, 8, and 9 guys.
Everybody got the hits. Bregman got hits. In fact, the only Yankee that did get a hit was Rizzo. But you know what's interesting? You remember back in August, Yankees went into a tailspin. It wasn't a slump. It was
Right,
we can't win, we can't catch the ball, we can't get on the bus to get to the ballpark in time.
right.
And they lost 11 in a row, something like that. The bottom just dropped out of this team periodically through the season, and it happened to them again in the playoffs, which I just don't understand. But with that many huge young batsmen, you'd think that somebody would get a hit, but they couldn't put it together. And when
Oh,
they needed a hit, every time they really needed a hit, there was no bingo.
yeah. I don't know if the Astros are that good. I don't know if the Astros, if their scouting department is so good. I don't know what it is about the Astros. Well, I do know. I know it's pitching. I know that they have a pitching staff that attacks you in so many different ways, gives you so many different looks that by the time the second game came around, Yankee hitters were standing in the box going, "Abbada, babbada, abbada, babbada, bab." What am I seeing here?
Yeah.
And I sure don't know what the formula is, but I'd like to because I'd either
Well,
like to have it illegal or give it to my team, one or the other.
they combined the great pitching that they got with hitting. They just kept hitting the ball. They just keep hitting. Bregman is a good example. It seemed like he was up every inning, and he was always slicing one down the field, up the middle, off the wall. They don't stop hitting. They're tenacious. They're absolutely fearless, and they're ready to hit. They go up there to hit the damn ball.
They go up there aggressively. And the Yankees, by the time Sunday rolled around, were going up there timidly. Forget the
Yep.
crowd, forget the all of the again. Yankee Stadium does not intimidate people like it used to. I mean, you remember we went into Yankees with the Mariners, and the Mariners go, wow, yeah, wow, look at that. There's the monument out there, and there's where Babe Ruth, and oh, God, there's where got sucked off under the stand. Oh, my God. You had all of that.
Yep.
And the Astros just don't bother them. It's like, so what?
I don't know from New York. It's a nice town. We like it here.
Good time. We like it. We should play here more often.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll move here.
Well, I
Yankees
think
can
I
move
think
to
they've done.
Houston.
I think they've done all their winning. I don't know where Dusty gets his confidence, but now they got to play the Phillies, and the Phillies are in the same position. They're hitting the damn ball, and they're hitting long balls.
Yeah, nobody told the Phillies that they can't hit.
Oh no.
I mean, the Phillies go in there and they again the same type of deal where you go in and you don't and you just feel like, well, we can hit these guys, we can hit these guys, Now, I think that's going to change a bit with the Astros, but I don't think it's going to change that much. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Astros won in and ran the table on them too. I mean, they've run the table on everybody else, right?
Does the series start in Philadelphia or Texas?
That's a good question. I think it starts in. I don't know. You know what? I don't know where it starts. I think it's Houston, but I'm not 100% sure. Um,
Funny thing about the headline I saw in the LA Times, I didn't read the story because I don't care. But the story was, why is the winningest team in baseball sitting at home for the World Series? It's a story about the Dodgers, who won
yeah.
111 games. And the answer is simple, because you lost in the playoffs. The answer is simple for all these teams. When they had to win, the pressure was different on each team, and the results were surprising in some cases.
Well, but it is a valid question. I mean, it really is. When you come and again, I realize that life is different now. I realize that we no longer value the best at anything. Now it's how did you do when you were called upon to do what you needed to do, right? We don't, you know, there was something about when you had the um, 100 and well, not the 162 game season, but the season where the team at the top of the league won and met the other team in the World Series. That's it. That's all. Two best records going at each other every year.
Right.
Because what that did is it made every game during the season count. Now you're in a situation where they've expanded the postseason once again. Mariners wouldn't have been there if they hadn't. And so you've now set this season, set the championship up where the team that makes the best deal by the trading deadline, the team that that has the young rookie that comes up, the team that can have a pitching staff that will negate any hitting staff over a short series can win and go to the World Series. So it's not the best teams anymore. And I think there's validity in that because I think that's part of. I mean, I don't know that which way is right or wrong. I'm a fan of the best teams. You know, should be the ones going to the World Series. If you have the best record, you get to go.
It's good for baseball financially to have an expanded playoff with more
Right.
people
Oh yeah.
involved.
Well, it's all about money. It's not. It's real.
Yeah.
It always has been. But there was some element of excitement in it. That element of excitement has changed because again, we're a society now that doesn't value the best at what you do as much as this participation trophy type of deal.
One figure from last night that I thought was interesting was they immediately said, "Well, that's 10 years in a row that the Yankees don't go to the World Series." As if that is the standard. Who's in the World Series? Well, the Yankees and somebody. No, that's
Well,
not
it
the way it
was for
is.
many years, Michael, and but when I was growing up, it wasn't. When I was growing up, when I was in my formative baseball years, and that was from 62, 61, 62 to let's say 69 or 70, the Mariners, listen to me, the Yankees after 64 were absent.
Well, that's because CBS was taking the Yankee baseball team and Fender guitars into the toilet
Right.
simultaneously with their deft management techniques.
And it wasn't until 76 and George Steinbrenner coming along that the Yankees even got a whiff of anything close to a playoff berth. But in those days, it was either the Orioles or the Pirates or the Giants consistently finishing in second place. But both New York teams had fallen on hard times. If you had started watching baseball in 1965, you might have been in trouble. in New York
You
because
might have found another team that was not a New York team.
right, none of your teams. Well, but the funny thing was in those days, in essence, New York had four teams because so many New Yorkers rooted for the Giants or the Dodgers still. So if one of those teams made it, it was almost a reasonable substitute.
Well, when there's a drought in the baseball world and the New York and the Mets can't find their way to the World Series this year, I won't include the Giants even on the wish list. You Giants stink. But on the other hand, in the football world, your ship has come in. The extraordinary New York G's, the G-men and the Jets are at the top of their effort and playing well. The Jets lost their running back, unfortunately, to a knee problem that's going to probably finish his season. But that's just going to give an opportunity to another young running back to continue their efforts.
Yeah,
I'm
looks
watching the Jets.
nothing can ever happen easy for the Jets. I mean, even when they're going good, even when all looks perfect, even back in the '80s when it looked like they were heading back to the Super Bowl, and in the 2000s when it looked like they were ready to get back to the Super Bowl, something would always happen. A.J. Dewey in 1981, makes the interception that screws up the Jets' chances in the AFC Championship game. I mean, it's unbelievable. But yeah, Brees Hall is the young guy that we're talking about, and you saw the worst thing that you can see for a football player, really, besides a head injury,
The
is
cart.
arriving in pain and going off on a cart because your knee is pointing that way.
We're going to have to tie that one again, but we're going in tonight.
Oh man. So
He's
anyway,
lucky. He's lucky in one respect, and that is orthoscopic surgery has gone so far. The chances of a repair and recovery are all really up to him. The doctors are able to put it back.
yeah,
Now it's just up to you to rehab it and get yourself back in the game.
yeah, and I'm sure that they have him at the hospital for special. I think that's where the Jets go to HSS. Um, Regardless of which hospital it is, I'm sure that they have him, on the table probably this morning, and are taking care of business, and going to get him back, and and hopefully healthy. He won't be back for this season,
No.
so you got to hope that you have somebody that will that can jump in. I mean,
And
I don't
Vinny,
know.
you know that you owe those thanks to Robert Saleh, the head coach now for the Jets, who came from the 49ers. A lot of people thought, boy, this is a great way to ruin your career, Saleh. You were a defensive coordinator, you had all your apples in a row. And it took him a while, but the results are starting to pay off. And I'm, as a Jets fan who has suffered, you deserve the win.
Well, luckily, Michael, they have. The Jets seem to have a bunch of guys in that running back core that can, that I don't know. Listen, this guy it was a budding star. I
Yeah.
mean, he was, what did he have? He had 463 yards, 80 rushes. I'm looking at his stats here. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a Jets rookie that has put up those kinds of numbers.
You
Imagine
remember
what they
what's
could do if they had Geno Smith as quarterback.
Hey, it's been such a strange year. They might find out before the year is over. Yeah,
Really?
we had to trade for Gino because our quarterbacks are gone.
So listen, I wish this kid the best. Hope he gets his knee straightened out and that he has a minimum of pain and that he goes out there and gets the uniform back on for next year and is successful. I you know you hate to see that happen to anybody, but listen, this is where you find out listen, everybody has players, everybody has helmets, everybody has shirts. It's what you do with all of that stuff that makes the difference.
And it's
And
also interesting to see Tom Brady and Rodgers of Green Bay having such a horrible season, having such a non-productive time, having losing experiences that they can't shake, and it's not like the team is disintegrating around them. They're disintegrating with the team, or they're disintegrating and the team's following them. But their level of play, Vinny, is so surprising. All these changes to the NFL this year, really, it's upside down.
I think Bruce Arians saw the exact right time to get out of it. I think that
I'm going to wear a suit. I'm going to sit up there. I'm going to have no more sunflower seeds on the sideline.
right. I'm gonna watch this from afar. I've done my time. I've got my Super Bowl trophy, and we'll see you later. Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I got what I came to get. I'm not going to be hungry. Be one of those guys like that hangs on
Yeah.
for way too long.
You know, he knew he wasn't going to go back and repeat anyway.
Yeah. Speaking about hanging on for too long, you got Belichick tonight in New England, and that's a whole. I mean, the Jets are fun to watch. New England is not fun to watch right now, I don't think, and certainly Buffalo is fun to watch
Oh, yes.
in that division.
Are they going to have to fire Belichick? Is that what you think? And then just one day they'll say, we're going in a slightly different
they'll stay
direction?
with him for a while.
I think
He'll get to tell them when he wants to leave. I'm pretty sure that they have that their agreement is that he'll go when.
indelible.
Now, not to say that Robert Kraft might not call him up to the office and say you should want to leave now. This would be the perfect time for you to leave, but they won't. That he's a Bill Belichick is a deity in New England.
Well, imagine replacing him with a kid that looks like the coach for the Miami Dolphins, who looks like he's 12 years old.
That,
And
you still can't believe that guy is the coach, right?
I can't. You can't. Yes, you cannot believe it.
I mean, I look at him. I was looking at him yesterday, and I'm like, no, this guy's like in the marketing department. He just doesn't look like your prototypical NFL coach. Now,
He doesn't look like he could. He doesn't look like he played golf or tennis either.
Yeah. I mean, it must be. Boy, he must do something to get the respect of those guys. I guess win is.
It's all up there.
But yeah, he's got. I mean, he's unbelievable, and it's actually for me refreshing to watch.
Yes.
You don't have a gorilla. No disrespect to gorillas, but that you don't have a million Andy Reids in the league.
That's right.
That you have some guys that. I mean, this guy could single-handedly make geeks popular again in Miami.
Geeks are all the rage in Miami as a result of this guy. But all you have to do is one thing, Vinny: win.
Yeah,
Just win.
yeah, you win and amazing things will happen. But it's interesting because you always traditionally think of football as a sport where the head coach has to be rough and tumble. He has to gain the respect of a bunch of guys that are not always at the top of their class when it comes to respecting people.
Yeah. They used to knock them down.
Yeah, they just knock them down. They're used to the idea of brute force will resolve any problem that you have. And here comes this guy in Miami, and he looks like Sherman from the Professor and Sherman.
Let's get into the Wayback Machine. Hey, did you see
the Wayback Machine for 1956?
Did you see the shot? Did you see the shot of Larry Zonka last night?
No, I didn't. I missed the halftime thing.
I don't know where it was. I think it was before probably some pregame ceremony of some sort. Anyway, for running backs wondering how they're going to feel when they're 70 years old, take a look at Larry Zonka. You got white hair, you got a cane, and you got your limp. And I said the reason he's limping is because he was such a great running back, and there's absolutely no denying that. He was one of the better ones.
He was. He's a hero down there. One of the people that I share my house with is a grew up in Miami. Is a Miami Dolphins fan and was there. The 50 season, was the season that they became interested in football, and it's just been amazing to watch him kind of get that renewed spirit. I mean, he looks like he's 12 years old again, running around the house in the Dolphins jacket and everything. Pretty amazing stuff. And nobody's been able to do what they did. A couple of people have come close.
That's when I was when Zonka and Kick were running for the ball. That's when I was a big fan of the Dolphins. When, of course, I
Yeah,
was going to school down there, but at the same time, it was great to see Zonka last night. Just if only for a brief moment, I said, "That's Larry Zonka," for crying
yeah,
out tears. There he goes.
yeah. It's when you have, it's like when they, well, I don't know how long ago it was that they brought had the old timers day this year for the Mets. I mean, you look at some of those guys and how riddled they are, and how those athletic bodies that were so functional, so operated at a high level for so many years for your enjoyment, now can't get from the dugout to home plate.
They were wearing those bodies out. We just couldn't tell at the time.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got a special. I've got a special for you today. I said I would look this up to make sure Vinny got the details. In Atherton, California, down on the peninsula. You know the story?
Tell the story.
The gardeners are out trying to do some project in the backyard of this $15 million mansion. And what do they come across? What, a body? No, no, no. A dog buried in the yard? No, no, no. They come across a convertible 1992 Mercedes-Benz 380 buried with the top down, and the trunk and the seats filled with unused and unopened bags of cement, concrete mix. No body found yet. The cadaver dog says there was a body here somewhere in this area. We think that we're going to find more. And I just wanted to say I had to find out the whole time the story's going on. I said, what kind of car is it? I know it's a car. And by the way, it was reported stolen in 1992. Well, we found it. And the registered owner from 1992 is no longer with us, either because he died the year that they buried his car, or something else happened that was untoward.
Well, I guess he was. Now, I'm not familiar with him, but I guess he was some kind of hot shot gangster type dude.
He knew somebody who knew somebody.
Yeah, and from what I saw, matter of fact, he had been, I guess, indicted at some point for murder and something else. So, I mean, there's reason to think that there's somebody or something, in that car. But it's kind of crazy, especially in Atherton, which is a very wealthy community. Bing Crosby lived in Atherton.
Yeah, you don't bury Yugos in Atherton. You bury Mercedes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it would be against. I mean, he would probably get, if he was still alive, he'd probably get more in trouble if he buried like an economy car in Atherton instead of a. But this is the second kind of weird deal that's happened this year around cars in San Mateo County.
What
I
was
don't
the
know
other
if you heard
one?
about this other story earlier this year, where the guy, some rich real estate developer down there, ordered a Batmobile. You can buy a replica Batmobile. This guy is building them out in Indiana, and for, I don't know, $200,000, he'll sell you a Batmobile with the stuff that shoots out of the back and everything. He got the rights from DC Comics to build this car, and so I think he's made, I don't know, 50 of them, 70 of them, something like that. But anyway, this real estate developer in San Mateo County wants one. So he calls the guy up, says, I want one, okay, sends him a deposit, however it works. And then the developer disappears for like a year. Nobody knows where he is. He can't get a home. So the guy who's building the cars drops the guy down in the order because he's building cars. He's got to get these cars out. All right, so he drops down. So a year, the guy calls him back. Says, well, I want my money back. I don't want the car anymore. The guy says, no, we got your car. It's coming. you gotta wait now though. You dropped down in the order.
He disappeared.
You disappeared for a year. You didn't call us. You didn't do anything. You sent me a $5,000 deposit on a $200,000 car. So I guess the guy, the real estate developer that's buying the car, is hooked up with guys in San Mateo with the sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department sends one, two, three, four, I think 5 guys to execute a warrant in whatever town in Indiana this is. Nobody asks anybody. Basically, they do it as a favor to this guy. They send 5 cops on company time to go roust this guy and bring him back to San Mateo. And the guy calls the cops there, and the judge there says, no, 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 no. But anyway, Channel 7 gets wind of this, and they put it on the air that, wait a minute, what are we sending 5 cops, hotel rooms, rental cars, salaries, overtimes, and everything to go get this guy?
Also, this guy Welsh is on a deal. Why are we defending him?
It's a civil matter. It's not even a criminal matter. Why would it even be a criminal matter? So now the sheriff down there, who also disappeared.
No.
Yeah, no, he got into the wind for a couple of weeks. Now he's under investigation by the San Mateo County, I guess, the district attorney's office or inspector general's office. And he might lose his job over this.
Oh yeah, he should. And the five idiots that went along have to be.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like everybody got a little paid vacation to go help the real estate guy out. So
I remember when you get to Indiana, don't kill him, just rough him up, scare him, give him the paperwork, and I hope no one figures out we have no jurisdiction there.
It's pretty freaking amazing. And so this is like the second bizarre thing around cars that's happened in San Mateo.
I'd like to know what happens to those people. What happens to those people down there who disappear for 2 weeks? Where the heck do they go?
I don't know. All of a sudden, the sheriff was on vacation, I guess they said. He all of a sudden couldn't be reached. Nobody could find him. Mind you, a guy that takes every opportunity he can to be on television.
Oh, yeah.
This was a guy that's out for, we arrested 2 people on El Camino Real for jaywalking.
We got to put out the bat signal. Put the signal under the cloud so they know we need them. Oh, come help Batman and the Batmobile. Help us, Sheriff.
So we'll follow that story on Drive Time. It's just when you think you hear strange stuff. Although again, I don't know if burying a car is so unusual. I'll bet you if you take a metal detector and fly over the center of this country, you'd probably find more than one Ford, 38 Ford pickup truck buried on a farm somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Just not in Atherton.
And I can't figure out the use of the cement in the seats of the car and in the trunk of the car. It would weigh it down, but there was no way it was going to float away.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're thinking to yourself, well, this thing may rise to the surface some afternoon and go down Oak Street.
Bob's up in the middle of the lawn. What is that? Oh, that's just the Mercedes. It comes up every once in a while.
Yeah, don't mind it. It'll go back down. We got concrete in the trunk.
We got ways.
We got a full tank of gas. It'll go. Yeah, I don't quite get the whole idea of the concrete, number one. And number two, with so many different ways to dispose of your car, and there are several different ways to get rid of your car if you want to get rid of your car, why would you bury it in the back of your house?
And that's at least a 2-man job. You're not going to dig the hole by yourself and drive the Mercedes into it by yourself and cover it by yourself.
It just seems like such a. I mean, let's just for the sake of argument's sake, saying that to get that car in the backyard, to get an excavator because you didn't dig that out by hand unless you have some really low budget people working for you. So you get the car in there. So what could you collect on the car? 15 grand at that time? 20 grand? How much does it must cost you 10 grand to dig a hole?
Of course it did.
So there's something.
And in Atherton, you could get it done for cash. That's without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's a couple of guys down the street, a couple of city workers probably knowing that in San Mateo County.
Well, the
You
guy,
go up to them
yeah,
and they're digging a sewer out. Say, hey, after you're done, can you come over to my house and you know, um, dig me a hole in the back big enough to fit a Mercedes in?
and the sheriff says, "Sure, I got my shovel in the car. We dig them all the time."
Yeah, it's funny. Funny you mention it. The guys down the block at 250 just buried a Chevy Nova back there last week.
Yeah. It was hell getting it in. It's wider than it looked. Yeah, this Mercedes is
Yeah,
going to be svelte.
it was tough to fit it in that space between the two houses, but we got it.
And they had to make up their minds. Should we bury it top up or top down? They buried it top down because it was a sunny day in California. Who wants to put a top up if you're going to bury a car?
And the funny thing is in California, he's probably more liable for the environmental damage that he caused than anything else. They get the statute of limitations probably passed on the murder.
There was seepage. There was seepage, I'm sure.
But there's no statute of limitation on environmental crimes, is there?
Not in Atherton. Not under the watch of the famous San Mateo County Sheriff.
And we'll send the San Mateo County Sheriff down to get you if we can only find him.
Because he disappears periodically. Well, once a day, we can't find him.
He sends people to Indiana, and then when they come back, he disappears. We don't know what's going on, but elect him this coming next Tuesday.
We may know more. We may know more, and I'll update you on the jewel heist on the grapevine. There's more news about that.
Yes. Oh, yes. All right, Mikey. That's
a Monday.
That's a Monday. We certainly didn't lack for things to talk about. That's for
So Monday Night Football is the Patriots and the Bears. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's Patriots. Or is it or is it the Bears? Now I forget. Yes, it is. In Patriot land, it is the Bears and the Patriots at 5:15 this afternoon in New England.
I'll be there.
That is.
And Peyton and Eli are back.
Are
So
they?
That's the way we're going to do it here. Yeah, well,
I think we should get a couple of people and put them in our show and have them do that for us sometime.
And they can do the play-by-play on what you're saying.
Right? Yeah, they can do our play-by-play, and we'll do our show, and they can do the play-by-play, and
I'm good with that.
we'll find a couple of people that know us, and we'll do that.
Or say they know us.
Yeah, they don't even have to really know us; they can just say it.
Be nice to get the sheriff of San Mateo County because he starts the show, but he doesn't like to finish it.
I'll call him, but I don't. Nobody seems to know where he. You take a message. You got his cell number? Oh no! He doesn't have a cell phone.
No, not. We don't use that phrase around here.
All right, Mikey. I'll catch up with you on Wednesday morning if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise.
Creek's not rising, although we had rain this weekend, but it was only a sprinkle.
Yeah, no, we had some too. At least it's less smoky around here. All right, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine.
See ya.
See ya.